Two Lincoln gang members are headed to prison after recording gang rapes of two minor females and posting it to Snapchat. The U.S. attorney says a judge sentenced Isaiah Dorsey to 20 years and Chrishawn Reynolds to 16, both in connection with producing child pornography. The 21-year-olds are members of the No Name Demon Gang. The victims were 14 and 16 years old. According to the investigation, they would trick young women into Reynolds' home and force them to do painful sexual acts with multiple gang members. They would then post the video to the gang's Snapchat account. According to a federal judge, the videos were described as unspeakable sexual assaults and horrendous crimes.